What did I just read? No, seriously, I just finished this book? What was it about? Like, there were ghosts and stuff, but what was the plot? Oh boy. Hey everyone, I'm Julian Greystoke. Today I am wearing my Aang shirt because it felt appropriately cosmic to talk about Before the Devil Breaks You. I was actually really anticipating this book. That doesn't happen very often. I don't often get into series really hardcore where I'm anticipating the next one, but I was with this one because I really enjoyed The Diviners, and the second book I liked okay. I was really looking forward to the exciting climax, and I don't even think we got that, but we'll get to that confusion in a second. Let's just talk about this book. Oh, okay, I have very mixed feelings. So, this book was so long and had so many characters. Like, I feel like the main story, the main plot of this series moved forward like an inch and a half. And I know this is a much more character-driven story, and so we're really kind of on board to follow these characters and their various subplots more than we are necessarily for the main plot, but I was ready for the main plot to go somewhere. I'm like, the man with the stovepipe hat and all of this imagery is so creepy and so intense, and I want to sink my teeth into it. And we barely touched it, because we were much more interested in following the characters and their especially romantic exploits, which honestly I found to be quite boring. A problem that I'm having overall with the Diviner series is that they all feel really unplanned, and this book as well. It felt like to me, and this is just a guess, that Libba Bray wrote the first one and didn't maybe expect it to be as successful or didn't have any plans for writing future ones. And then people were like, oh my gosh, we love it, write more. And so she's just kind of bumblefucking her way through the next books. Like, their tie-ins feel very tangential, and it's just all over the place. And this book feels like even more of a holding pattern because she doesn't know what's happening next or what the resolution is. There are so many ideas explored in this book, and they are done with such a heavy hand. It feels like Libba Bray researched all of like the social issues that were happening in the 20s and decided to try to cover all of them, while at the same time being very timid about things like racism and homophobia. Doesn't really go as in-depth as I feel like she should, because there are black characters and there are queer characters, and it really, like, if we're following these characters, we really should be dealing with some of this shit. The black characters, oh, you know, they're disappointed sometimes because they're not allowed in certain restaurants, but let's not talk about the fact that they probably still get, like, routinely spat at on the street. They could be beaten in a dark alley just for being black, you know. And the cops, let's not even talk about how the cops would look and the issues that they would have with the police if they were walking around in like a white neighborhood, which I believe they do in this book. Like, it's never touched on though, the real like raw racism that this character would be facing all the time, and the same with like the homophobia. The gay character, all of our characters are completely fine with him being gay. We're not even gonna touch on that some of these characters might have been brought up in such a way that they would be, you know, at least weirded out by that. I wish the author had been more realistic and more bold about it. Speaking of romances, kind of, a little bit, they were so bland for me. I did not care about any of the pairings in this book. I can't figure out Libba Bray and how she like feels about sex in these books, because she'll be very chaste about it with her writing and her language, and she won't say words like penis and stuff like that. But there was an entire chapter that was basically just all of the characters having sex. And I'm getting whiplash from like, she'll be super chaste, and then, oh no, the characters are having sex. Pick, please! The little asexual girl reading this would like to know what she can expect. So the asylum that was promised us is like a big part of the blurb, and let me tell you, I was fucking down. I'm like, let's trap these characters in an asylum full of ghosts. Fucking yes. That was actually a very small part of this book. It was pretty tense while we were in there. It wasn't as scary as I was hoping it would be, but what are you gonna do? But then that part was over, and there was so much book left to book. Oh, Libba Bray goes off on these lengthy, and she did this in the second book too, tangents about America. Weird little essays in the middle of her book that are completely unnecessary, and I hate them. And if I was an editor, I would be like, this does nothing. This does nothing, take this out of the book. I wrote the old quote from Dr. Seuss, "A writer who breeds more words than she needs is making a chore for the reader who reads." Libba Bray has what I like to call diarrhea of the hands, where she just writes and writes and writes and writes and writes, and I feel like she needs an editor who will be a little bit more strict with her and eliminate a lot of unnecessary verbiage from her books. At one point, the characters in what's supposed to be a big climactic scene figure out what the ghosts have been wanting all along, and I just about facepalmed my forehead through my hand because duh. The reader has figured this out from encounter 1. There is an asexual character in this book, and that should be exciting to me. The scene where she realizes that she's asexual, I feel like was done pretty well as far as explaining sort of what it feels like to be asexual. It felt kind of like it came out of nowhere with her, but I was okay with that. I'm like, well, that's fine. However, this character made me cringe because this character felt like she was just a pile of all of the political correctness, like, in one person. She is mixed race, but mostly seems to identify as Chinese, and she's really into science and math and stuff, so there's that cliche laying around. She has a physical disability, and she's queer, and at this point she's got so many things. Now, if you out there in the world are all of these things and you really identify with this character, that is 100% awesome. But with this particular character, it just felt really, really like, and she's this, and she's this, and she's this. Oh, isn't she diverse? Isn't this book diverse? It has all of these things. Please stop. Why does that have to be the ace character? Things that I did like about this book, I've always liked the slang that Libba Bray uses. I know some people may feel like it's like tacked on, but I love it. It really helps me feel immersed. There are a lot of characters in this book, and there was never a character that I was disappointed to be following or that I did not enjoy following, which is good and it is hard to do. There's often going to be at least one character that a certain reader might just like skim or skip or not enjoy. So at least there's that. At least I was never like, I'm not enjoying this book and oh, I have to read this character I hate. I was, however, disappointed that Henry, who is one of my favorite characters, barely has anything in this book. I loved his friendship with Theta, and I really wish that he had been there because Theta gets a lot of stuff in this book, and Henry needs to be there for her, and he's not. Their friendship was one of my favorite things, and it was super sad that Henry was barely in this. So those are basically my thoughts on Before the Devil Breaks You, except for, can we please have the final book soon? Because I need to know. I need to have some resolution for this story. I do like these characters, so I keep having hopes. But I was really quite disappointed in Before the Devil Breaks You. So what did you guys think? Are you fans of this series? What did you think of Before the Devil Breaks You? Comment below and let me know. As you know, I post new videos here Mondays and Fridays, and all the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo, so go check those out. Come talk to me on Facebook or Twitter or wherever. And I will see you guys again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!